Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Members of the East Brunswick High School Marching Band enjoyed their 15 minutes of fame Sunday at Giant Stadium. This week we'll show an excerpt from their halftime performance. Also on Sunday, hundreds of volunteers gathered at the Eagleton Institute for Hyacinth Foundation's AIDS Walk 94. We'll hear from Executive Director Ricky Jacobs. This week begins the first of a two-part special news presentation on the imminent excavation of 730,000 cubic yards of waste from Edgeboro landfill. We'll also have a summary of the town council meeting held Monday night, and we'll get into the mood of the upcoming holiday. Know who you're voting for on the 8th. Watch profiles of the candidates for Township Council Tuesday night, November 1st at 8:30. And see them in action again on a rerun of a recent Channel 8 forum, Thursday night, November 3rd at 7:30. Several hours of rainfall might have been a factor in last Sunday's Giants' loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it didn't dampen the excitement and performance of the East Brunswick High School Marching Band at halftime. The band was selected by the Giants' administration office to entertain the rain-soaked crowd on Sunday. Band members and support personnel had to follow a strict schedule upon arrival at the stadium. They practiced between the warm-up times for the football players, went to a special hospitality area, came back and performed a 3-minute pregame show, then went back to the hospitality tent. A few minutes before the end of the second half, the band gathered to ready for their star performance. The crowd welcomed the band, and they were on for 8 minutes of entertaining thousands of fans in the stadium. Although the Giants lost to the Steelers with a final score of 10-6, the East Brunswick High School Marching Band was the clear winner at the Meadowlands.
Hello, I'm Michael J. Opoleski, the Director of Public Works for the Township of East Brunswick. With me this evening is Councilman Tony Riccobono and Mr. Jack Whitman, President of Edgeboro Disposal. You've probably been reading in the newspapers and on TV as well as the radio about a disruption of solid waste which will be taking place at Edgeboro. What we have tonight is these two individuals, which we will discuss why the disruption permit is taking place and what will be the impact to the residents of East Brunswick. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Riccobono at this point, who can pose some questions to Mr. Whitman, and we can address the issues as being discussed. Tony?
Okay. A number of residents have expressed concerns over what is occurring over at the landfill and what will be occurring, and I'd like more information about what's going to happen. Why do you feel this disruption is necessary, and when will it begin?
I think, Tony, it's important that we find out, or we understand why the waste is where it is, that which is subject to the disruption. We're talking about areas, we call them areas 5 and 6, which are located outside of the environmental improvements of the main landfill, and we refer to that as Area 0. This cutoff wall encompasses approximately 315 acres, where we've been depositing waste about ever since the middle of 1970s, and are currently still, Middlesex County is using that as a landfill today. The waste in Area 5 and Area 6 was actually put there in the early 1960s to early 1970s. We started the landfill business in the early 1950s, 1952 to be exact. This late waste, which was put there, was before any environmental improvements were ever conceived of for landfilling. Back in those days, it was nothing but a common dump. But in the early 1970s, when the DEP, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, was formed, we had to register the site with the newly formed DEP, give them a set of engineering plans as to how we would upgrade the facility and make it environmentally secured. And that's when they came up with the concept of the bentonite cutoff wall. We provided for leachate collection inside of that wall, as well as monitoring wells on the outside. It's clear to see that the waste in this area 5 and 6 is outside of that wall, therefore it's not environmentally secured. There is a potential for groundwater contamination from that waste. It's nothing but household and industrial and commercial waste, which was put there in the early 60s. But there is the potential, as that waste decomposes, which has been doing for the past just about 35 years now, that waste, as it decomposes, it will give off some possible pollutants. And that's what we're concerned about. That's why we propose to remove the waste and put it up inside the cutoff wall into this area here, which we refer to as Section 3 of Area 0. That is approximately 40 acres, which is not capped at this point in time. The remaining 200 acres of where we've been depositing the waste for the past, ever since 1975 through 1992, 93, inside of Area 0, that 200 acres, that has been capped. Capped meaning that we have the foot of clay, the foot of sand, it's been topsoiled and seeded. As far as we're concerned, that's the way it will remain forever. This 40 acres has not been capped, it's been left that way in its open state, awaiting for the waste from areas 5 and 6. And this is planning which took place actually a couple years ago as we were negotiating our contract with the MCUA as they were leasing part of the landfill before they got their final permit from the DEP, allowing them to expand into different segments of the landfill, which is inside of the cutoff wall.
I know that the bentonite wall has been investigated recently. Has any final findings come out yet at this point in time?
That is part of the permit condition. There has been extensive amount of testing, engineering testing, which has been done by, we had our own engineer, Sadat Associates, do some of that. More recently, Converse Associates has been retained by the MCUA to test the integrity of the cutoff wall, the effects of the salt water might have, whether or not there's any degradation of the bentonite due to any possible chemicals coming from the landfill. That report is due out shortly. And the way that cutoff wall is affecting the groundwater is one of the permit conditions which will be addressed, and that is to be submitted, I think, to the DEP by the middle of November or thereabouts, pretty close to there.
If there is any sort of a problem with the wall, can that be addressed at that time and repaired in some way?
It can be repaired, yes, but the preliminary findings are that there is no problem. There is no environmental, there is no chemical degradation. The salt water is not having any adverse effect on the bentonite cutoff wall.
Jack, most of what you're discussing has been long-term planning, I would imagine, under your organization to ensure that what is happening within the landfill, which is active as well as what is capped, is contained. And I believe the area that you're looking for, the disruption of 5 and 6, what is the short-term and long-term benefits that you're looking at on why you want to move this waste after, as you said, 35 years? Some of the reports that I have read, which I believe you have brought with us to show how long-term this has been ongoing, what are the short-term benefits and versus the long-term benefits, if you can put it in that easy type term, I guess?
The short-term benefits are, we have residents living right across the road, Weston Place. We've been reading about Weston Place. We have residents living right across the road there. It's been alleged that they've had some problems with possible methane migrating over towards their homes and possibly into their basements. Short-term effect, as soon as that waste is removed, that will eliminate that possibility of any methane migrating towards there. Long-term effects would be the elimination of any potential groundwater contamination, as well as the aesthetics, the fact that the waste is being removed. We have approximately 45 acres enclosed in that area 5 and 6. That's going to be 45 acres less waste that's going to be here in East Brunswick. It's actually going to be consolidated inside of the existing landfill.
As you made comment of having this with Weston Place individuals which have some potential or had some potential adverse environmental impact on their residents. In the short term, with the disruption permit, will that be increased in any way, and what precautions have you built in to this disruption permit for those individuals that are closed?
Sure, that's what I was going to ask next. Are there safety measures being taken for the residents as well as the people working on the site?
There are a substantial amount of safety measures being taken. Number one, we've had a numerous, I guess 10 of our employees undergo a 40-hour OSHA hazardous waste training course, so they are prepared mentally and physically to accommodate any potential problems as we uncover that waste out there. So we feel that we are prepared. We are going to have the necessary decontamination sites available in case if we do encounter any hazardous waste, which is not expected. It's not a hazardous waste site. We have done several hundred test pits out there. We've taken approximately 50 samples, submitted those to rigorous testing at independent testing laboratories. Nothing has come back hazardous at this point in time, but we are taking the necessary precautions in case if we do expose something. As far as any potential increased methane migration during our disruption, just the opposite is true. As you disrupt it, if there is any possible methane there, you're going to release that possible pressure and it's going to be vented into the atmosphere. However, once again, our tests have shown that there's a minimal amount of methane in this area because of the age of the waste. The fact that it's 30, 40 years old, most of the methane has already been produced, and it's on its declining curve as far as the production of methane.
You made a comment that it's 45 acres. You will not be excavating all 45 acres, as if I understand the reports correct. You're going to be working in a very confined area, which will be able to be controlled from an environmental standpoint for any possible odors, any vermin that may be there, or anything else, so you have control of it. And I'd like you to get into some of the planning that has gone into it before just going in here and causing, or possibly causing, a problem. Like I said, I made the comment, you have these manuals in front of us which are about a foot high. So there had to be some planning. It's not something that you just dreamt up over 6 months. Could you just get into a little bit of that and what you had to do before we got to where we're at in this stage?
There is an extensive amount of planning. As you can see, as you mentioned, there is just about a foot of manuals, and all these are just specifically for this Area 5 and 6. This alone is our health and safety plan. We have a separate health and safety officer who will be on the site in addition to the quality insurance inspector who will answer to the DEP and a host of other trained personnel there.
One of the areas that I want to cover with you is in regards to the safety. Many times organizations take under disturbance or operations such as this. The way the DEP has it structured is you have to hire a consultant that does not work for you, but works for them, and he has to be the inspector.
He's their choice also. It's a matter of, I think, 3 different people that you
That's correct.
Could you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Our permit conditions, we had to give to the DEP a list of 3 professional outfits who had the qualifications to serve as a quality insurance inspector. He will be on our payroll, basically, but he is answerable directly to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. He reports to them on a regular basis. All of his reports go to there. He is to work very closely with our own health and safety officer there. He will be looking over their shoulder, making sure that they are properly trained, that their instruments are properly calibrated, and that they are doing the proper procedures. He will be on the site at least 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, the DEP will assess whether or not they change his duties, whether they will increase his duties, diminish his duties, or whatever. Right. In addition to that, I understand that just last night,
yes.
The council here in East Brunswick made it a requirement of the DEP that when we get to within 1,000 feet of any residential dwelling in the area, that we have to have a representative of the state there, and I imagine this quality assurance or insurance inspector would qualify as that state's representative.
We felt that it would be important to have somebody on site who the people would feel comfortable that their needs were being addressed, and I thought that was important to have on there.
One of the questions that has been asked is that the truck traffic, which was a problem years ago, how will that impact the residents in that area? Will there be increased truck traffic coming through causing problems, or will it be contained in the area you're working and bringing the material to the inside of the wall? Could you explain how that's going to take place?
There will be truck traffic generated. All of the waste which is being excavated from these two areas will be taken into the active landfill by a specially road which we just constructed. So all of this waste will be deposited into the landfill using internal roads.
So nothing will be going to Edgeboro, nothing will be on Weston's Place?
Nothing will be on Weston's Place, but the fact that we hope to remove about 5,000 cubic yards a day and depositing up here, and as you mentioned earlier, that we will have a very confined excavation. If we're taking 5,000 yards a day out, it means we have to bring 5,000 yards a day back in, so we fill that hole up. So yes, we will have increased truck traffic coming down Edgeboro Road off of Route 18 from various sources. The main source will be from our pit out in Monroe, so that would be coming in Cranberry Road. We already have several 100,000 cubic yards of stockpiles already on the site. In anticipation of this, we've been hauling it in, so we will not have any dramatic increase in trucks.
Okay.
But there will be an increase in tandem trucks bringing earth in.
So during
It sounds,
the... Okay.
excuse me, it sounds like you're moving earth rather quickly. How long will it take to, let's say, reach the homes on Weston's Place, or the nearest homes? And how long will you be remaining in that area and working in that area? How soon can you get out?
We hope to start very shortly. We have a meeting with the DEP tomorrow trying to work out some of the last details with them. So hopefully, if everything goes right, we should be possibly under construction sometime next week, and that's if everything goes proper.
But when will you
We
reach the nearest
anticipate it's going to
homes?
take approximately 150 days to do the entire task. The DEP has told us that they want us working down here in the Weston Place in the middle of winter. So depending on when we get started, what problems we have, and what type of progress we make, if we do not meet our 150-day schedule, if we start to fall behind, we will stop wherever we're working, and we will have some preset date, whether it be February 1st, and we will physically move down here and start doing that. And we will give those residents plenty of notification, hey, on such and such a date, whether it be February 1 of 1995, we are going to start our excavation there.
Now, Jack,
so
that's
they will
being
be
done to eliminate some potential problems, I would imagine. That's why it's being done in the middle.
any potential odor problems that might be there. We have a lot of precautions being taken for potential odor problems. If the prevailing winds are from the north and west, I'm sorry, from the south and west, take most of the air out over the Raritan Bay. However, if we have a northeast storm which reverses the flow and brings it back towards these residents, we will shut down. We were going to have full-time weather station online there, so we have continuous monitoring of the wind direction. We will also have full-time air monitoring there for methane and any volatile organic compounds. These are part of our permit conditions.
As you can see, the discussion has been very lively, and I believe Mr. Whitman has laid out a great format, and we're hoping that you can tune in next week, since we will be continuing this in another segment. The information that we have and we wish to cover with Mr. Whitman as well as with Mr. Riccobono is more extensive than the time period that we presently have. So we will be addressing it once again next week, so please tune in, and we thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Monday night's Township Council meeting was a busy one, with several proclamations presented. Members of the Raritan Valley Roadrunners and others were recognized by the mayor for their hard work and dedication to the annual East Brunswick Road Races. The 17th annual races will be held this year on November 6th in conjunction with the mayor's third annual scholarship walk. Another proclamation announces the week of November 13th through the 19th as American Education Week. November 10th was proclaimed Lockup Day to benefit the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and November 17th was named National Smokeout Day. The mayor and council were recognized by the Superior Officers Association for their efforts in the building of the Veterans Monument, and the East Brunswick Historical Society presented certificates to residents who have maintained historic homes in the township according to township guidelines. In other council news, 4 council members voted to support a resolution that will authorize the Middlesex County Utilities Authority to purchase 7 homes on Weston Place. The houses are the closest ones in proximity to the Edgeboro landfill in the township. The council previously rejected an ordinance authorizing the township's purchase of the homes. Many changes and provisions were made to limit the liability of the township in the purchase and make the MCUA entirely responsible. Councilman Tony Riccobono, who previously voted against the plan, was satisfied with the changes and approved the plan Monday night. Councilman Joe Hudak, whose no vote last time fueled angry residents, voted to accept the purchase of Weston Place homes. Township Attorney Bert Bush explained some of the provisions.
All of these conditions would be imposed on the MCUA before they could withdraw money from the escrow fund that was established under the agreement the council authorized. Just so it's clear.
That's correct.
Each one of these is a protection for the people who reside in Weston Place and in the surrounding area and for the township. And if the MCUA does not agree, if Mr. Neely turns out not to be correct, then they would not be able to withdraw this money.
That's correct.
We are told they agree.
Okay. This is Kiss Roll Call.
Councilman Hudak?
Yes.
Councilman LeBlanc?
No.
Councilman Riccobono?
Yes.
Councilman Zarnowski?
Yes.
Council President Clark?
Very happy to vote yes.
Council Vice President Vince LeBlanc cast the only opposing vote. The ordinance will come up again on November 14th for final passage.
Hyacinth, New Jersey's first AIDS service organization, is committed to improving the quality of life for people living with and affected by HIV and AIDS. The other component to their mission is education. Both goals were realized Sunday when hundreds of volunteers gathered at the Eagleton Institute on the Douglas campus for AIDS Walk 94. Hyacinth's executive director, Ricky Jacobs, explained how the fundraiser also functioned as an educational tool.
For one thing, we had about 7,500 sponsor forms that were sent out, and every single one of them on the back has all the facts about AIDS in New Jersey. So even people who aren't walking got a lot of information, and that was part of the whole process, was to make sure that we get the word out there. We also hope people walk and have raised money, because we definitely need this kind of money. Is the kind of money that's not tied to specific grants. So it's easier for us to do more creative things and take on new and different projects.
Right. Where would you like to see the funds go this year from the 94 Walk?
Well, I'm hoping we can do more education work. We don't get that much money from grants to support presentations and trainings, and this will help us do some of that for sure.
For more information about Hyacinth's work, call 246-0204.
Hi, I'm Patty Sullivan, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator for the Township. And I'd like to introduce you to the Director of the East Brunswick Department on Aging. This is Fran Galena.
Thanks, Patty. We're here today to tell you about a special day that's going to take place at the East Brunswick Senior Center. The holiday season is quickly upon us, Thanksgiving being the official launch of this year's holiday season. Unfortunately, there may be many seniors in East Brunswick who do not have family close by and may be looking at a Thanksgiving dinner that might be quite solitary. So if that's the case, we want you to know about a Thanksgiving dinner that's going to be held at the Senior Center, thanks to the good works of Patty and her volunteers. There's some special information about that event, and I'm going to let Patty tell you all about it.
Thanks, Fran. Basically, you have to be a senior, 60 years of age or older, to join us. If you are alone and have one child, you're welcome to bring that child with you as well. I'm sure the grown-up child, of course. We're going to serve a full 6-course dinner. There'll be turkey, mashed potatoes, all the dressings, a big buffet of desserts, a good time, music, laughter. The cost is $7 per person. You do need to make reservations. That's very important. You can call the Department on Aging at 390-6809 and leave your name, your address, and your phone number, and you'll then have a spot for Thanksgiving dinner at the East Brunswick Senior Center. Thank you very much.
With just a few more days till Halloween, there isn't much time to get into the spirit of the thing. This house on Fairfield Ave in East Brunswick will certainly help us into the mood. Here's the creator, graphic artist, Deborah Carr. Deborah, you've put a lot of time and energy into this. What's possessed you?
Well, I've always loved Halloween, and I was disappointed when I was too old to go out trick-or-treating, so I decided I had to do something to keep my favorite holiday alive and make it special. So I decided to do this for the kids in the neighborhood, and they all seem to enjoy it.
Where did you get the idea?
Well, my cousin Jay in North Brunswick had a small little display in his yard, and I saw it and I thought, gee, that's a great idea. I could really get into that, and I just decided to do it on my own.
Where do you get your ideas?
Oh, it's just out of my own crazy imagination. I make up all the tombstones and all the different poems. You know, I've always been a creative writer, so this way I get to do a little bit of everything, artistic, poetry, and I just have an awful lot of fun with it.
What's your favorite piece this year?
Oh, gee, that's so difficult. I think it would probably have to be Dr. Frankenstein in his laboratory. I really put an awful lot of work and detail into that, and the kids are really amazed by how spooky and real he looks.
Your background is as a graphic artist, and you do things other than what's in the yard here. Tell us about some of the other work that you do.
Well, I've always loved fantasy and science fiction, so I do a lot of freelance fantasy art, specializing in dragons, unicorns, mythological, and I also design my own costumes. I go to science fiction and fantasy conventions and compete in costume conventions, and anything that's creative, little theatrical, I really get into.
Why Halloween?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was always intrigued by the idea of dressing up and putting on makeup and becoming something different, something out of my imagination. Plus, running around at night is something that I never used to be allowed to do, so that was one special night I got to run around in spooky darkness. It was just so fascinating to me.
Some little kitties.